Hey YouTube, Philly J here with Different Dimension Gaming, coming at you with my Earth Machine combo video. Now, normally what we do is we would do two regular shuffled up test hands, shuffle up, draw 5, see what happens. And then we would do one hand with the perfect hand and no interruption from the opponent. But because I'm not super comfortable with this deck and I don't have all the necessary cards to play it, we're just going to do 3 regular shuffled up test hands. But with that being said, let's jump into it. Just going to give the deck a little shuffle here. And we're going to see what we can make of it. Those, our opponent cut. Let's see what our first hand is going to be. Gear frame, box, overdrive, redeployment. Let's give it a couple more of these guys. Get it really nice and shuffled. It was pre-shuffled just with the tunneler on the bottom just for the beginning, but let's see what we get. Gear frame, Theron Coliseum, overdrive, class bar, and harvester. All right. So normally you don't want to open the class bar, but sometimes we don't open great in these videos. So let's start with activating our Coliseum. We're going to search out our copy of Regulus, which is there. Now, we have to decide if we want to normal summon our Harvester or our Gear Frame. And with our hand, I think it makes more sense to go with our Harvester. So we'll use the effect, and we'll search out our copy of Brutal Dozer. Then we will link our Harvester into our first copy of Goliath. And we're going to be saying Goliath a lot because we're going to abuse that as much as we can. So we're going to tribute the Goliath to summon our copy of Brutal Dozer. Brutal Dozer will summon a Infinitrack from our deck. And we're going to grab our copy of Tunneler. And we're going to link our Tunneler into a copy of Goliath. And we're going to link our Brutal Dozer into a copy of Goliath. Now what we can do is we can link both Goliath into our copy of Platinum Gadget. Platinum Gadget was going to summon from our hand our copy of Class Bar, because when it's summoned, it will send a Machina from our deck to our graveyard. And we're going to send our copy of Fortress. Now what we can do is we can go into our copy of Ancient Gear Ballista. Ballista is going to search our copy of Ancient Gear Box. And Box, when added to hand, is going to search our copy of Trencher. Now what we can do is we can tribute this copy of Ballista to summon our copy of Trencher. And now we can consider our options one more time. Now this has been a lot of spinning our wheels for minimal effect. So what we should do is change our minds. Off our own class bar, we're going to take back the Fortress. Mistakes are okay because we're all learning here. We're actually going to send our copy of Gear Frame. And we're doing that because when we activate our Regulus, we can equip the Gear Frame to it, summon the Regulus, and then Gear Frame's effect can unequip itself to summon itself. It doesn't gain its effects, it only gets the effects on normal summon. But we can link these two into our copy of Cleafort Genius. And now we can banish our Tunneler to shuffle back our Ballista, Platinum Gadget, Goliath, Goliath, and Goliath. What that's going to do, it's going to shuffle those into our extra deck. We do have to shuffle our deck because it does say to shuffle them into the deck. We're going to give our opponent our deck to give it a cut. And we're going to draw 2 cards. We drew crazy. We activate redeployment, discarding our copy of Ruin Force. We're going to add our copy of Citadel, and we're going to add our copy of Fortress. And what that's going to do is let us extend a little bit more. So we can use our copy of Fortress, discarding our Citadel to summon our Fortress. And now we can use our Ruin Force Engrave. We can banish our Gear Frame, our Glass Bar. 8, 8, 12. We're going to banish our copy of Dozer, and that will summon back our copy of Ruin Force. So from here, what we can do is not a whole lot. We can set our copy of Overdrive. And what this gets us is we've got an Omni Negate. We've got a Battle Phase Omni Negate. We've got Protection. We've got an Overdrive to pop our Fortress and bring back our Citadel. So let's assume we pass a turn to our opponent. They're going to, I don't know, play a couple cards. We can use our Regulus to tribute itself to negate the activation. And then we can activate our Overdrive, targeting our Fortress, summoning from our deck our copy of Gear Frame, pop the Fortress, summon the Gear Frame, and then because we destroyed an Earth Machine, our Citadel revives itself from the graveyard. And now you've got a board wipe on your side of the field. So, if we activate the Citadel, we can tribute itself, our Gear Frame, or our Genius. We're going to tribute the Citadel just because it does have the largest body. And we destroy all our opponent's monsters with less than 3,000 attack. And then when it comes back to our turn, we can draw for turn, do a Trencher. We can think about our options. Again, a lot of thinking with this deck because there's so many steps. We can normal summon our copy of Gear Frame, using its effect to search our copy of nothing at all. Okay, that's okay. We can overlay these two. Into our copy of Gear Gigant X. We can detach one of the materials and search for our copy of Flying Pegasus Railroad Stampede. Now what we can do is we can link our Gear Gigant X and our Cleafort Genius into our copy of Platinum Gadget. Platinum Gadget's effect will let us summon a monster from our hand. We'll summon our Stampede. Its effect will activate, allowing us to summon a machine from our graveyard. We're going to summon back the Citadel. And then we can use the effect of the Stampede, targeting itself and the Citadel, so the Stampede becomes a level 10. Now we can overlay these two into our copy of Gustav Max. What we want to do here is very important. We're going to activate our trencher, tribute our platinum gadget to summon our copy of trencher. Now we're going to link our trencher into a copy of Infinitrack Goliath. And we're doing this because we want to get our Goliath as an Exes material on our Gustav Max. So we can banish the trencher to bring back our copy of Harvester. And then we'll link these two into our copy of Double-Headed Anger Knuckle. And then because our Goliath was sent to grave, it's going to equip to our Gustav Max. We can use our Gustav Max, inflict 2,000 damage to our opponent. And then we can overlay into our Juggernaut Lele. Use its effect. Now its attack is 6,000, and it can attack 3 times. And if 18,000 attack doesn't get the job done, I don't know what will. So that's one hand. That was our first test hand. For our second test hand, we're just gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna shuffle up and draw 5. So let's see what we get off of our cut. So go gear frame, overdrive, urgent schedule, heavy forward, throw. This hand's crazy. The best part is this hand can showcase how much we can do off of one normal summon. So first thing we're going to do is activate our heavy forward, and that's going to grab us our copy of Infinitrack Harvester. Now we're going to normal summon our Machina gear frame. Gear frame on normal summon, and only on normal summon, will give us a search. And we're going to search for our copy of Unclaspbar. Now Unclaspbar, when added to hand except by drawing it, can summon itself and then send a Machina monster from our deck to our graveyard. We're going to send our copy of Citadel. We can take these two guys, link them into our copy of Platinum Gadget. Platinum Gadget will let us summon a level 4 or lower Earth Machine, or level 4 or lower machine from our hand. We'll summon our copy of Harvester, and Harvester will allow us to search for our copy of Brutal Dozer. We can link the Harvester into our first of many copies of Goliath. Tribute our Goliath to summon our Brutal Dozer. Brutal Dozer is going to summon from our deck our copy of Tunneler. Now we can do something kind of cool. Activate our Regulus, equipping the Machina gear frame from our graveyard to it. Excuse me. Now our gear frame can either equip itself to a card or unequip itself from a card. So we'll unequip the gear frame from our Regulus, and then we'll link these two into our copy of Ancient Gear Ballista. Ballista is going to grab our copy of, I find it, Ancient Gear Box, and the Ancient Gear Box is going to grab our copy of Trencher. Again, a lot of spinning its wheels and a lot of doing the same things over again to get a very strong board. Now we can link our Tunneler into our copy of Goliath. We can activate our Trencher to tribute our Goliath, summon itself. And now we're going to mix it up a little bit. we're going to take our two infinite tracks here, we're going to overlay them into our copy of River Stormer. And River Stormer, we're going to detach our copy of Trencher, and we're going to either add to our hand or search. We're going to either search to our hand or send to grave. And in this case, we're going to add to hand. We just have to decide what we're going to add. We're going to add our copy of Derek Rain to our hand. Actually, we're going to send it to grave. Now what we can do is we can activate our tunneler. We're going to go Goliath, Gadget, Goliath. I'm going to put the class bar back, and we're going to put the gear frame back. Doing this, we're just trying to dig a little bit deeper into our deck to get a little more recursion. So cut, and we'll draw two cards. Trencher and gear frame. Now, Trencher, it's important to know you can only use its effect in grave once, but you can summon it as many times as you want. So we'll tribute our copy of Ballista to summon our copy of Trencher. And then we will use the Trencher in grave to banish it and summon back our copy of Harvester. Now, we can use our Harvester, link that into our copy of Goliath. And we can link our Trencher and our Goliath into a copy of Cleaford Genius. We're going to use the effect of our Goliath because it was sent to grave. We're going to attach it to our River Stormer as Eggsy's material. We do the same thing with our Heavy Forward. We're just going to attach it. And now we're going to set our copy of Urgent Schedule and our Machina Overdrive. So, what we've got here is a 2500 that cannot be destroyed by card effects. We've got an Omni Negate, and we've got a negate for our other cards. And this is unaffected by spell traps and link monster effects. We've also got our Urgent Schedule just in case they get us our board wiped. And we've got the Machina Overdrive to get us some recursion because we do have the Citadel in grave. So that's hand number 2. So I don't know if it's perfect, but the hand I'm going to showcase is going to be Harvester, any Machina that isn't Gear Frame or in class bar, Redeployment, Regulus, Heavy Forward. So what we're going to do, we're going to start with our Redeployment. We're going to discard our Ruin Force. That's going to let us grab our copy of Gear Frame and Overdrive. Now we can activate our Heavy Forward. We're going to search our copy of Brutal Dozer. Now we're going to normal summon our Gear Frame, use its effect. We're going to add our copy of Class Bar. Which will automatically summon itself to the field and send our copy of Citadel to grave. So from here, we're going to overlay into our copy of Gear Gigant X. And detach a material. We're going to add our copy of Anchor Drill to our hand. Now we're going to activate the Brutal Dozer, tribute our Gear Geigen X to summon itself, then summon another Infinitrack from our deck. We're going to summon our copy of Tunneler, because Tunneler is the one you really, really want engrave. Now we're going to link off Tunneler into our copy of Goliath. And we're going to link off our Brutal Dozer into a copy of Goliath. Now we're going to link both of these into our copy of Platinum Gadget. Platinum Gadget is going to summon our copy of Anchor Drill from hand, and Anchor Drill will summon our Harvester from hand. And Harvester will search us our copy of Road Roller. Now we're going to do something very cool here. We're going to activate our Regulus, equipping our copy of Gear Frame. Summon itself and equip the Gear Frame. Gear Frame summon itself. And now we're going to activate Harvester, targeting the Gear Frame to make them both level 6. Then we're going to activate the Anchor Drill, targeting the Gear Frame to make them both level 10. We're going to overlay these two, both being level 10s, into our copy of Super Dora. Then we can link away our Harvester into our last copy of Goliath. And now we can activate our Road Roller, tributing our Goliath to summon itself. Goliath will attach itself to our Super Dora. Now we're going to be building up Dora a lot in this turn. Now we can use our Tunneler, banish itself. We go Goliath, Goliath, Gigant. We'll go Classbar and Brutal Dozer. Put all those back into the deck. We're going to draw 2 cards. Get our opponent to give us a cut. And let's draw some cards. So we're going to draw Revolving Switchyard and our Super Express Bullet Train. Well, that's both crazy draws. Alright, so we need to get it so that we only control Earth machines. First, we're going to activate our Revolving Switchyard, and because our Platinum Gadget is a light, we need to get it off the field. So what we're going to do is we're going to link itself and the Road Roller into our Ancient Gear Ballista. We'll do our Ballista thing. We'll grab our copy of Box, and Box will grab us Trencher. Now, because we only control Earth machines, we can summon our Bullet Train, activate our Revolving Switchyard, summon back our copy of summon our copy of Stampede from the deck, if I could learn to speak English. Now, from here, we can activate our Stampede on summon. We're going to bring back our copy of Road Roller. Now we're going to use our Bullet Train and our Ballista. We're going to go into our copy of Cleafor Genius. Then we can use our Railroad Stampede to target the Road Roller, and they're both going to become level 5. And we can overlay our 2 level 5s into our copy of River Stormer. And remember, because of our Road Roller, all our opponent's monsters are forced to defense, and they all lose 1,000 defense. Now we can use the River Stormer, detaching the Railroad Stampede. We can either add to our hand or send to grave a monster. I think we're going to take our, could do Derek. I think we're actually going to just do the Machine of Fortress, and we're going to add it to our hand. Now we can activate the Fortress, discarding itself and the Ancient Gearbox to summon itself from the grave. Now what we can do is we can activate our Trencher, tributing the Fortress to summon itself out. And we can link our Trencher into our copy of Goliath. And remember, the Goliath equipping itself is once per turn. I just read that. Okay. So, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. It doesn't really change our plans at all. I think all it's going to do is get us to banish the Trencher to bring back our copy of Harvester. And then we can use these two to link into our final link monster into our copy of Anger Knuckle. So we can set our copy of Overdrive, use our Heavy Forward to put it onto our copy of Dora. So what we're looking at here is you can use the Cleafort Genius to negate 2 cards on the field, including our Switchyard, which is perfectly fine because that's only good on our turn anyways. Our River Stormer is going to force our opponent's monsters to defense mode, and they lose 1,000 defense. We've got an Omni Negate, we've got Recursion, we've got an Interruption, and our Super Dora can make anything on our field add towers. So let's assume our opponent takes their turn. What are we going to do? In their standby, we're going to activate our Super Dora. We're going to detach the Anchor Drill. Target anything on our field. Let's say we target the River Stormer, just to give it that extra layer of protection. Now, our opponent proceeds to take their turn. At any point, we can activate our Overdrive, getting rid of our Anger Knuckle. And because we're destroying it, our Citadel will trigger. We're going to summon from our deck a copy of... We'll summon a copy of Gear Frame. Summon the Gear Frame, which then triggers our Citadel because we destroyed a card. It brings out Citadel. Now you've got more interruption on your opponent's turn. Give our deck to our opponent, get them to give us a shuffle. Let's say that we activate Regulus, we lose our Gear Frame, we're going to activate Citadel to destroy all our opponent's stuff. And it leaves us with this board. So let's draw for turn. It's pretty good. We have to decide what we're actually going to do with all these cards. So let's activate our Overdrive, banishing it, and we're going to shuffle back to our Tunneler, our Trencher, and one engrave, let's say our... Let's go with our Bullet Train. We're going to shuffle these into the deck, and we're going to draw 1 card. The best draw would be our Bullet Train. But I'm not going to cut the camera. I'm not going to stop. We're just going to hope for the absolute best And we're going to draw a... That's just as good. All right, so we're going to normal summon our Stampede using the effect. We're going to bring back our copy of Regulus. Gives us our negate again. And because we summoned a Earth Machine, we can summon our Derricrane. I guess this will target the Derricrane, make them both 10s. Overlay into our copy of Gustav Max. We can detach a material and burn our opponent for 2,000, sorry, and then immediately overlay that into our Juggernaut Libe. Dora to attack. Actually, if we put our Regulus here, we can link our River Stormer into our copy of Goliath, and we can use our River Stormer, tribute the Goliath to bring it back, and then use the Goliath onto our Libe. And that gives it an extra attack and protection. So from here, if we want to activate the Libe, we can only attack with Libe for the rest of the turn. So let's weigh our options here. So if we detach a material from our Libe, we are going to attack for 18,000 damage, or we can not detach and we can attack for 15,000 damage. So I think we're going to do is we're going to go for damage. We'll detach our Gustav Max. We're going to go for 18,000 damage because we can attack times the materials plus 1. So we've got 1, 2, 3 attacks and protection. So we go attack, attack, attack. Assuming that's not game, an Xyz monster we control attacked, we can make Zeus. Now, if this is not good enough for game, I don't know what to tell you. But with that being said, make sure to like and subscribe. I know this video has a lot of moving around, a lot of moving pieces, because this deck does a lot of moving around to get the gears moving, forgive the pun. But it is a very fun deck, and it did see its heyday before Nibiru, because you do so much summoning before you get a negate out. But I hope you've enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.